Well, I am Johan Nohr, or Johan Nohr. I am the art person or a graphic designer for the dark apocalyptic fantasy game Mörkborg. And I'm part of something called Stockholm Cartel, which is kind of a creative collective of Swedish role-playing designers and artists. And yeah, so we made Mörkborg, and from that moment when we released it, things have just been moving forward a lot more than we anticipated. So I'm just in for the ride here.
What are the three things you value most in life?
Whoa. Oh, you weren't kidding. Oh, this is tough, but that's fun. I think I don't know. It's really hard to pin down. I mean, I really value being able to like experience new things and just try out different perspectives and try out different things. And even if these things are sometimes scary and like I'm not sure if I can do it, I think it's always fun to experiment and try it. So like curiosity, experimentation, I think is one thing. And obviously like my close friends and my family is the boring answer, but very dear to me. And also I like creativity, I guess. I feel extremely boring saying these things like, oh, trying out new things, my family and creativity. What a really exciting artist. But yeah, I guess that's my answer to that question.
Tell me a memory that shaped you.
I actually have a really bad memory. Like not bad memories, but my memory is bad. Like I forget a lot of things, and I don't know what it is. People can ask me what I did like last week, and I don't remember it. I don't know why, but I'm living in the moment, I assume. All right, I think so. But a memory that shaped me, I think, when we were kids, when I was growing up in a very small Swedish town, we did a lot of like urban exploring and stuff. There was I'm not sure if this is a specific memory, but it was just like the memory of the things that we did. That we went to all these places, these like abandoned factories, and there was a very old like silver mine from I think it's 17th or 16th century or something like that. That we would like climb over the protective fences and go like spelunking as kids, which is super dangerous and you should not do it. But we did it. But I think that kind of like ignited something of like my lust for like exploring and trying out new things. And I don't know, just that whole sort of feeling of that we could do whatever the fuck we wanted when we were kids, I think was defining in a way. I've been thinking a lot about that lately, mostly because I also have two kids now, and I'm starting to think, oh shit, what if they do stuff like that? But but then yeah, I don't know. Maybe that, like all the expeditions that we went on as kids.
I like this idea of like, okay, so all of this stuff it defined me as a person, but if any of my children did that, I would kill them.
No,
Like,
but obviously, like I think that I wouldn't mind if they did it. I think I wanted to encourage that, but then again, I don't want to know about it. Like, but you do you, like you.
okay, that's fine. Ignorance is bliss, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Question. Oh bugger. Question four is I've kind of an easy, straightforward question. What's your
Thank you.
favorite animal?
Dog.
It's a dog. Why?
It, because I don't know. I'm starting to feel like I got super boring questions here because I've been listening to some of your previous like interviews, and people are so like profound and deep, and I come here like, oh, I like exploring and I like art and I like my dog, but I'm a simple person in a lot of ways. I got two dogs. There is a pug. It's an old pug called Gibson, and a quite younger French bulldog whose name is Goblin, and he behaves just like one as well. I don't know. I just resonate with them. We're on the same level in a way.
Is Gibson named after William Gibson?
It's named after basically we just like the name, but it's more like the guitar, I think.
Uh,
But people come at us sometimes I'm like, is it from Mel Gibson, the actor? Like, no, 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 not really.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we actually have a lot more animals than I thought we would have because we live like in the countryside and we have 2 dogs and 7 chickens as well. So there's actually I'm not a huge fan of them actually, but I like the eggs.
What do you name the chickens?
No, our son did actually, our 3-year-old. So they have really strange random names.
Okay. Like I have a friend of mine who keeps chickens, and one of them is called teriyaki, and the other one is called. I either way, I know they're named after like chicken-based foods, and I was like, it's
That's a bit grim, isn't it?
yeah. Well, I asked him about this. I was like, hey, why do you have you like? Surely that's like very morbid. And he was like, well, I'm not going to eat them. I love them. Like I've nursed them back to health and things.
Mhm.
So, but I was like, surely it's like naming a person kidney. Or
Right.
like,
Yeah.
or like, oh yeah, I think it's stir fry and teriyaki. I think
Oh
those
man.
are
Well,
yeah. And I'm like, I love the idea, but like the execution is quite grim. It is whatever.
literally, yeah. No, 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 they're named the very, very kind names like Lulu, and one is named like Rooster because he thinks it's not a chicken, but anyway, it's silly, but and I can't tell which is which. I just know there's 7 names.
They exist. Okay.
Well,
Um, question 5 is a kind of back down the other road, which
okay,
is
awesome.
tell me in as much detail as you can about something you knew of which once existed and now does not.
Can I go back to the mine thing from my town there? Because
Yeah.
I don't know. Right now, I'm in that mind space, So there's this mine. I'm kind of doxing myself now for any Swedes who know, but it doesn't matter because I don't live there anymore. But it's a very small town, and it used to be kind of important for Swedish like the economics and stuff because all the silver got from there, and the workers in the mine didn't get any of it, of course, but the king would take all the silver from it. And down there in the mine, there was like this ghost story about. I'm not sure what the English translation would be, but there was like this spirit lady that would haunt the mine, basically. So any worker who would go there would have to behave in a certain way and have to do like this small ritual before entering. And so like there's rules that you had to like knock 3 times on the rock wall before you enter the mine. You can't whistle, you can't swear down there because then she'll like come and I don't know throw you down a mine shaft or something. And so obviously this is like that operation doesn't exist anymore. But I found like I have this newfound like super interest in that whole mythology behind that spirit lady and the mine in general, because there's a lot of mythologies as well about how this mine like came to be. Like this farmer who's I think it was a goats that he had or like sheep or something that would come home after grazing, and they had like this silvery glittering on their horns because they had been scratching them against the ground. And so he would go there and see that, oh, there's actually silver here in the earth. So I'm super rich now. I can't remember his name, but he also got super like vain and uh, like this newly rich guy who would think he's king, and he he had his horseshoes made out of silver because he wanted to like show to everyone how rich he was, and that was actually his downfall because he would ride into the church on a Christmas mass, and the slippery silver shoes would make the horse fall, and he kind of died in that fall because of that, because of those silver shoes.
I was thinking like when you're starting that, I was like, silver is poisonous. Like
Yeah,
you
well, that too, exactly, and the whole like yeah, there's a lot of stories about people who didn't make it down there in the mine, and also a lot of children who would work because they're small and can fit into places, and horses that would be bred down there, and yeah, it's a grim history, but it's a very rich history of that place, and it's also the reason why there's a lot of like just holes randomly opening up all in the city, all in the town, because there's a lot of mine like tunnels sprawling underneath the city. So like a whole driveway can just crash down, and then there's a mine shaft like 100 meters down. It doesn't happen too often, but it has happened a few times.
That's insane.
It is, yeah, it is.
Yeah, I can definitely understand how, with all of that history behind, the like work that you would create is so like, oh yeah, well, things can just happen to you and you die. I'm sorry
Exactly.
about that. Yeah, like that sucks for you, I guess.
Yeah, but those were like the mine tunnels that we would explore as kids. Like we would go into those places with just a flashlight and nothing else. Like it's crazy, but we did that, and it was a lot of fun.
I would run in the opposite direction. Like I could not.
Yeah, no, I know. I know. Thinking about it in hindsight, it's actually mad that we did that. But yeah, we survived.
Yeah, thankfully.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great answer. Yeah. Question 6 is, what do you suck at?
Oh, math, everything with like systems and running a business. Ironically, because I'm doing that, but no, that's actually the worst part about like doing these role-playing games and everything, which I enjoy immensely. But you have to become a business all of a sudden for it to be like legal in Sweden to sell stuff. So yeah, I'm torturing myself trying to learn how to do that, like accounting and bookkeeping and everything. And it's just a blind spot in my mind. I can't do it, but I have to, I don't know, try to learn it somehow.
Okay. Question 7 is, what are you great at?
I'm great at, well, I guess trying to realize an artistic vision that I have. I think I'm pretty good at that because I have this inner picture of like a feeling or a vibe that I want to communicate. I'm not necessarily sure exactly how to do it or the details, but I know the kind of the feeling that I want to share.
Okay, cool.
So.
Question 8 is, what fascinates you?
Skilled people that go all in on something is actually the better answer. People who choose a path and like do it all the way, even though it might be a bad thing. But like people who just decide that, oh, this is what I'm going to do, and then go all in. Even if it's, I mean, it could be something like, oh, I want to be like a wood carver, or I want to be, I don't know, a game designer or whatever. I want to, I don't know, free dive. Or it could be also like, if there's people who just decide that, oh, I'm going to be stupid, you know. you can see some of those people on like forums and on Twitter. People who have just decided, oh, this is the path for me. I'm just going to be, I can respect that in a weird way.
Okay.
They're very dedicated. Like, oh, that fascinates me, I think.
Do you think like people choose to be stupid? Is that
no, not necessarily. Well, sometimes maybe people can choose, because I know I do that sometimes. I can choose to take the simple route in a few cases where I'm like, I can't be bothered to just like become good at this. I'm just gonna
like that's me with fighting games. Like I'm
right.
super bad at fighting games, and the amount of effort that it would take me to become good at fighting games is just too much. So I go into the fighting games and I'm like, I'm gonna eat shit at this constantly, and like every time I play, I'm gonna get my ass beat down, and I'm just gonna. It's okay. It's fine.
That's
like,
good, yeah. And you know that you probably could be good at it, right? If you just gave it time and energy and everything, but you choose not to.
Yeah, because I have I have things that I want to give more time and energy to. That's not fighting games.
Exactly.
Like, it's not that I'm like endlessly useless. It's just that why would I bother? Like, not to like shit on anyone who likes fighting games.
No. I mean, obviously not. And as I said, I would totally respect that if someone just chose to be bad at something.
Okay, I That's the first time I've ever got that answer.
I might not. I must note. I might not agree with the person, and I might think that they're horrible. But in a strange way, I would respect that they have just chosen their way, because otherwise, people will be like, maybe some of this, maybe some of that. It's maybe it's because I want the world to be simple, and I want to see clearly what one person is. I don't know.
Okay. So question 9 is: what piece of media should everyone consume?
Like generally or specifically? Like, do you want me to like movies or no? What piece of media? There's this album by it's quite heavy, but it's an album by Mount Erie. It's called A Crow Looked at Me. And I think everyone should, if they want to be miserable for a while, they should give that a listen, and they should read up on the story behind how that album was conceived and why, because that is just it's brutal and super depressing. And I think it's also very beautiful in a lot of ways. And yeah, it's about death and love and loss, but it's extremely beautiful, but very very sad. So I think that really moved me, that album. So I think everyone should give that a listen.
I'm gonna open up my Spotify right now. I'm gonna put it into
Yeah,
Spotify.
check it out, but also read up on it, because there's this whole story about like how it was recorded and when and how and everything. But it's it's not a happy thing.
If you could name a hot sauce, what would you call it and why?
Okay. These questions are tough because they're very good questions, but they're questions that I have never thought of in my life.
That's good. I take that as the highest compliment, because like
Yeah.
when I was designing this show, I was the people I wanted to like interview, and the general vibe of it is like I want to interview interesting and creative people, and creative people inevitably have made something that touches me in some way. And I realized that most interviews ask the same kind of shit all the time, and it's so boring. Like, you've probably answered questions, like the same question 7, 8, 9 times, and I know you can't say anything like whether or not fuck these people or whatever, but I can. Fuck those people. Do something more interesting with the opportunity you have been given. I have like a very like noble view of what you should do with someone's time. Like, you should really respect that. And like, putting a person through a ringer that they've already been through a couple of times before does nothing. You're just like, you've probably learned off answers that you just say at this point. Like, so when I was creating this, I was like, these questions need to be different and they need to be impactful. Like, you need to be able to think about things like, oh, well, I haven't thought about that in years, or I want to talk about this. And then just ones that I kind of want to know. I want to know what you would name a hot sauce. That's just for me, you know?
I mean, yeah, all these questions so far have been like that. Things because you have really put me on the spot here, which is good. Like, because you shouldn't be too comfortable. But okay, so if I would name a hot sauce, what's the name of the scale that the hotness is? Isn't that like Scoville?
Scoville, yeah.
Scoville. Okay, so maybe something like with like the Scovillain.
That's good. That's good.
How's that? Like the Scovillain.
So it'd be really hot sauce.
Yeah, it's super hot. Yeah, it's your worst. Not the worst, because they're always named like zombie apocalypse or the end of the world or something like that. But this is just personalized for you because it's the villain in your story. The Scovillain.
That's good. Would you have like a vibrant label, or would you have like a bland label, or?
Ooh, I think it would be very. I'm not sure if that's possible. Like, but maybe like super personified. So it's kind of like a mirror image of you, but hotter. No, but like an evil version of yourself, because you've met your match here, which is customized for you.
Oh, that's really cool. That's really, really cool. Okay.
Maybe, but you have to sort of apply to the manufacturer to have them customize it to your taste buds, so that it'll be it'll be customized for your experience here. Yeah,
It'll fuck you up specifically.
exactly. Specifically you, and then your name, everything. Personalized, super personalized Facebook ads to you. Like, yeah.
um, question 11 is, what is your most prized physical possession?
I generally try not to care too much about it. Physical stuff, didn't get too attached to them. Like I'm not a super well. I do collect games, like role playing games, but I'm not too careful with them. And I, it's going to be quite a boring answer here again, but I think maybe the first copy of Mörkborg, the book that we got from the first sort of real book that was ours, that was our own thing that we made. I like that. I don't only have one copy of it, but still, it's something that I think I would like to keep forever. Just to remember, because of my bad memory, I have to attach it to a physical thing.
That's a lovely answer. Also, you keep saying you're giving boring answers. These answers are great.
Okay, cool. I just have very high expectations of myself. I don't know.
These are great.
Okay, cool.
Question 12 is, what strange thing has informed your creative work?
Well, I'm not sure if it's the one thing, but it's something that I've been saying in another interview as well, that I think is an unusual inspiration source for this type of stuff that I do. Is like annual reports, and like business reports. These super boring financial designs and everything. That kind of stuff inspires me in a way, especially if they're very well done, because like the ability, I think it's super impressive, the ability to like turn something that is genuinely like unsexy and uninteresting and turn that into something that is inspiring to me. I think that itself is inspiring, and that's, I think, something that great graphic design can do. It can lure you into appreciate really boring shit. So yeah, that kind of stuff, like well-made financial reports, inspire me.
That's a great answer. Question 13 is, did you ever have an epiphany? If so, what was it about?
I'm digging really like deep now into my mind, trying to find if I ever had that. Not that I acknowledged as one, at least, or no, I don't think so.
Okay, cool. You don't have to. Like,
No, 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 but it would be fun to have one, but no, I don't think so.
so a lot of the answers I get inside that question are like, oh well, I can just be creative, or I'm actually good at this, or like, but I don't know. Some people don't class those as epiphanies then. So
No, I think maybe it's like a language thing, because I associate epiphanies with like almost a religious, like, oh shit, divine, truth or whatever. No, but I think yeah, now that you mention it like that, I think maybe when I realized that I don't think there's such a thing called talent. When I realized that, because I think that everyone is or most people, I think, would be able to create, most, whatever they wanted to, but people keep labeling that as like like hard work and dedication as talent, which I think sometimes I get a little offended by, because it's like, oh, but you have such a talent for drawing. I'm like, no, I spent years practicing, like, oh, it's such a gift, to you. To be able to do this. I'm like, no, actually, I actually sucked when I started doing this. But now I'm good at it, because I did it a lot. I sucked a lot of times before I got good. That sounded wrong, but yeah, I think, yeah, when I realized that, and because then I also realized that I could learn new stuff as well, because I don't have to have some kind of talent for it to be, valid in a way.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I think so.
That would be what I would consider to be an epiphany. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, epiphany doesn't really have like I know the origins of the word have that kind of religious connotation. I believe if the word comes from the Bible, but here it's just like a realization, like a big
Okay, right.
realization. Yeah. Um, Question 14 is what's just the best feeling?
Finishing a project. Just get it. No matter if it's the best, most fun project, but just clearing it off the calendar and just moving on to the next thing is the best feeling. When you don't get any more emails or phone calls for this thing, it's so good. And I recommend any creator to try it once in a while, because even though it's hard, but you just finish it. Because I think a lot of people also keep fiddling with it, and they keep adjusting, all the little what's it called? Well, they'll keep working on it at least, and it's never finished. Or some people actually finish a project, but they never release it, and they just put it in a box somewhere and forgotten about. So just finish it in whatever state it's in, and release it, and hopefully you'll feel a lot better about it.
Do you say I love you too much or too little?
Isn't it either or? It can't be just right, no?
If you think you say it just right, you can say that.
Well, I think I do. Actually, to yeah, I do. I it does happen to those words leave my mouth. So absolutely.
And you think that's like you give a happy medium as with the amount that you say it.
I believe so. Yeah, I'm not sure if you can say. Oh, well, you probably could say it too much. Actually, yeah, that'd be quite annoying. So yeah.
Question 16 is what is the most valuable thing you have ever learned?
These are brutal.
It's a gauntlet.
What's yours?
My most valuable thing that I ever learned was that I am allowed to be creative. So when I was a kid, I was like I was really creative. I used to read all the time and blah 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 blah. But like I was bullied and all that stuff. So it kind of in school I was kind of made to feel stupid. And so that kind of precludes you from being creative because you think, well, only smart people. Like I knew I wasn't stupid, but I was made to feel that way, and I thought that people would perceive me that way. And so, like, oh well, they're only going to care about the things that other people do.
Right.
And the most valuable thing for me, not even from a fiscal sense, was just I'm allowed to be creative. Like doing the show, writing short stories, doing like RPGs. That fulfills me in a way that if I just kind of accepted that I would never be able to do it or never learned that I was allowed to, that I wouldn't have the richness of soul that I think I have now because of them. And that's a gift that I gave to myself. That's a thing that I learned for myself by just doing them. And so that's my most valuable thing. It was just like learning that you're not creative for other people, you're just creative for yourself. If you're creative for other people, that's just a waste of time. And someone's always going to find a problem in it, even if you think it's perfect. So just do it. Just do the fucking thing. That's the most valuable thing for me anyway.
Wow, that's great. That's a great insight and lesson and advice, I think. I think as for me, that it kind of inspired me actually to this, because I think one of the things that I learned from at least working on MacLeod was that even if there's like people that you respect a lot, you can always like just ask them a question or like reach out to them and ask if they want to collaborate or something. They're just people, because we did this collaboration with Exalted Funeral and Games of Nevers, this record that we're about to release called Putrescence Regnant. And on it, we have a lot of collaborations with, people like Greg Anderson of the band Sun, and Wayne June, who does narration for Darkest Dungeon. And we kind of like a joke at first. We just thought, we'll ask these people because, we love their work. But we didn't stop there. We just sent them an email and explained. And, generally people are quite friendly. Not always, but, sometimes. And it's all. I think it's almost always worth it to just give it a try. Just send an email. Just shoot a question. You know, sometimes they'll gladly accept and work with you. So
Yeah, that was one thing I realized about this show as well, was the sheer amount of like goodwill a random stranger is willing to give me on the internet. Like, I've sent emails to people that I have no, like, absolutely no business. Like yourself, you have no business, like, even entertaining an email from me. Uh, and it's like, oh yeah, let's just do it. And it's like, okay, I guess I'm here now. I guess I guess I have this opportunity now. Um, and
yeah, but I think because people generally like what they're doing. If someone reaches out and say, "Hey, do you want to do the thing that you like doing, but from like a new angle or something, with a new twist and with new people that you never worked on before?" Sometimes they say yes because it's interesting for them. So
hell yeah, so I'm glad that we both have like a similar insight
yeah,
there.
yeah.
Question 17 is, how do you feel about death?
Ooh, I kind of accept the fact that I'm gonna die, and that everyone is gonna. I mean, obviously, if you look at the game that we've made, it touches on that subject quite heavily. And the album that I recommended every person to listen to is also about death. It's like I don't know. I feel like I'm probably some kind of nihilist in a way, but I'm not like a negative nihilist. That's fine. You know, just have to accept that everything is kind of pointless ultimately. And you will die. Everyone you know will die, and nothing that we do here ultimately matters. You know, down the line, because the universe will end. So, but that's kind of freeing as well to think about in a way. So, I don't know. I'll probably be scared shitless once it's time, but right now I'm just gonna feel well, it will happen. And I'm also very honest with it when I'm talking to like my kids as well. And I'll just say that, oh, well, if you do this, then you can die. And what happens if you die? We haven't really touched that subject, but when it comes to that, I won't say like, oh, that person is in heaven or whatever. I'll hope that I'll be able to say, oh, that person is no longer here and their consciousness is gone, everything. But my son is only 3, so maybe I'll wait a bit. I'm not sure.
I'd agree with waiting for just a little while anyway. I do like that in your description you said that in the work that you do, your work touches on death. I would not say that Morkboard touches on death. I think it like
revels in
it. like you can walk into a room and something will happen and you're just dead. Like you're fully healthy character. Yeah, you're just dead.
And you know what? That's true in life as well.
Yeah, it is. That's what kind of really enamored me with the system, was that like, oh god, you just, bad shit will happen to you. You will have your flesh soft off, and that's it. You're dust, and that's it. It doesn't care, and that's great, because if there's a lot of systems that do care, play those if you like. If you want some synthetic, very cool fun, I think this is my recommendation to buy Morkborg. You should do that.
I would agree with that.
So question 18 is, what's the strangest thing that's ever happened to you?
Whoa, the strangest thing. These questions are awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah, really, and very difficult to answer. The strangest thing. Here I am with my memory again. I don't think I've ever had like a paranormal experience or anything like that. I wish I could answer something like that. Oh, it's blank. Like, I don't know.
That's okay.
I mean, obviously, I could just lie and make something up because there's no way for you to verify it.
But, absolutely not. I can't do anything about it.
But no, I'm just gonna be honest here and say that I don't know actually. Maybe that's the strangest thing, that I don't have that.
This is a new question. I don't really know where like what to do with this, or like how people will go with this. But like, what is a question that you wish you were asked?
These are things that I never think about. It's very difficult, and that's good. I mean, have you thought about that for yourself?
Yes.
Obviously you have.
Yeah, so all of these questions are things that, these questions come from the fact that this is what I talk about a lot. Like before this show, when I was in like the equivalent for like high school, I don't know what the names of your like secondary school is.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, high school. I would like sit in a classroom with my friends and we would just talk. I say we. I would talk about philosophy. Um, and I would like pull people into these discussions about like what does that mean? And then I did like a lot of philosophy in college. I was a very philosophical kid. I think you'll really like this story. I've told this story, so I'll probably like cut it out of the show, but I'm going to tell you anyway because I've told it on the show before. When I was like 3 or 4 years old, I was sitting in the car with my dad, and did you ever play the video game Simpsons Hit and Run?
know what it is. I haven't
Yeah.
tried it. No, no.
So when I was a kid, I had just gotten like a PlayStation and like I'm playing video games at a super young age. I think it must have been 4. And I turned to my dad and I asked, Dad, do you think God is controlling us the same way I control Homer in Simpson Hit and Run? So these are the sort of questions that I think about a lot and like I have just random thoughts on all the time. The question that I wish I was asked more often is like a genuine, heartfelt, like, how are you? When
Hmm.
people ask me how I am, I don't like to respond in like a, oh, I'm fine, ha ha ha. Because, like, I guess it's like, you have made the mistake of asking and now you get the answer.
you,
Like,
you open Pandora's box here.
yeah,
So.
like, because I think that that is a question that has such value. And I think that people asking it as a social greeting does a lot to diminish the effectiveness of a legitimate asking of that question. Like when I ask a person, "How are you?" I'm not saying it as like a passive greeting. I'm saying like, "No, no, no. Tell me how you are. If you're feeling like shit, I want to know. If you're having like a wonderful day, I want to know."
Hmm.
Because it's so valuable. Like it genuinely is, and it's such a way to make connections with people. And people get quite taken aback when I give an honest answer to that question. They feel more comfortable with giving that, giving an honest answer, because like that is a question that I wish I was asked more often, like the honest version of "How are you?"
Hmm.
Um, yeah,
Do
so that's
you do you get that at all, or like because I don't think I've ever, well, if I'm obviously like upset about something, probably, but like I'm not sure. Like, do people ask that? A genuine like, how are you?
so I am lucky to have cultivated friends who they know like my position on it and they can create space and I create space for them. So my friends know that when I ask that question I'm genuinely being serious, like how are you? And when like I have friends that ask me, they know that I'm going to give an honest answer on it. And they are asking genuinely and honestly. So I'm lucky enough to be able to say yes, but in like common everyday, like going to the store, not really. It kind of
No.
bothers me a little bit that like that a question which has such a has the potential to be so beneficial is used as kind of a common greeting.
Hmm.
Weird thing to be annoyed by, but whatever. But
Oh, well, I've been spending this time thinking if I had any questions like that. I think that's a very good one. But I'm not sure. I think what I enjoy sometimes when I'm working on something creative is when I get the chance to like explain why I have done it in such a way, or like what the reasoning behind my color choice or whatever. This is all like professionally, but so I guess the like I wish people would ask more like what are your thoughts on, or like why does it look the way it does, or what's the greater, like what's the purpose of this thing, or just generally people asking about the stuff that I do,
oh,
which I enjoy.
well then, why is the color choice the way it is?
I mean, it depends on the spread or the thing I do, but I always try to like have every element on, say it's a book or something or whatever. Like try to have every element, be it typography or color or shape or whatever, sort of tell a story throughout the book, not just with what they look like, no, like not just what the picture depicts, but also how like the shapes are. Because when you flip a book, it's kind of like a very slow animated movie in a way. When you flip the book and you see all these shapes flip by and create a sort of movement almost. So I try to look at like a book, for example, as more of an entire thing. not just the spread by spread or page by page, but the whole experience of flipping through it. So every choice is a deliberate, or I try to make it deliberate at least, part in that sort of machinery, I guess.
Like a holistic view of setting things up so that it gives a uniform perspective on what you're trying to do to the people
Yeah,
around you.
yeah, exactly. So you have that. You look at the product not just from what you see right now, but how you experience it throughout its entirety, in a way.
Question 20 is, what are you most proud of?
Mm, I'm most proud of that I've almost gotten all my shit together, I think. But I'm actually managing to kind of LARPing being an adult. uh, I'm very proud of that. So I've managed to, have a family and I have a job and all that stuff. That is wasn't always a guarantee, but I'm kind of happy with that, actually.
Question 21 is, what's the best thing that's happened to you this week?
We're actually, yeah, as I mentioned before we started recording, we're uh, well, we have. I was talking about the bees that we have in our house. They've been nesting. That's not a good thing. That's actually the kind of the worst thing that happened this week. But I think it's stressing me out because we're trying to sell our house now, and I think the best thing that we've done was actually pushing the button and calling their what's it called realtor to get it moving and take that step, because we've been sitting on it for too long, and it's we have to get moving. So yeah, I think that's also kind of part of pretending to be an adult and everything.
Question 22 is, how do you deal with uncertainty?
I ask people for advice a lot, and depending on what kind of uncertainty it is, if I feel like I could, if I always like I think my motto in life is like risk versus reward always. I always try to weigh like, okay, so if I'm taking a risk with something, what's the risk and what's the best outcome that can come from it, and what's the worst outcome that could come from it. So if I feel like the worst outcome is absolutely terrible, maybe I'm asking more people, and if I think that the worst outcome is pretty manageable, then I'm just gonna wing it and do whatever, and we'll see what happens. So, but some uncertainties I would never, I would never expose myself to. Like, like I live here in the forest, and I'm doing a lot of like walk in the woods, and I'm picking mushrooms and everything just to eat. And I'm never like, like if I'm the slightest uncertain about it, I will never like pick a mushroom because it could possibly kill you, because there are mushrooms out here that is super lethal just in very small bites. And that's kind of the same thing with other stuff as well. Like if the risk outweighs the possible reward, then maybe I'll just skip it, or I'll ask a lot of people.
Question 23, if you were on a starship, what position would you hold?
I'll probably be like doing branding or something, doing the marketing material for the cruise or the journey, making the logo on the side of the starship.
Okay,
I
I.
guess. I guess. We'll see. It depends on where we're going and what the situation is. Maybe I'll just toil away, in the machinery or something, but probably something to do with my profession.
Question 24 is, do you think there is more good than bad in the world?
Right now, I'm not sure. Well, it depends on what you're defining it as, I guess. I hope so, but no, I'm not sure. I always assume the best of people. I try to, but it's hard. So yeah, I'm very uncertain about that. Leaning towards yes.
Okay, cool. Uh, just you probably have already kind of figured it, but my answer is like yes. I think there's way more good than bad.
You think so? Yeah.
Yeah, way more good. Because I believe that good is like weighted more than bad. I think like a single drop of good is worth way more than like a collective bad.
Hmm.
Because goodness is both like catching, like creeping. Goodness is a creeping thing where one piece of goodness makes other people be good and gives them the opportunity to be good. But also, like, I believe that joy is weighted more than sadness. Because I don't truly believe that we should be like happy all the time. I think that would be unhealthy. But I think that the goal of like it is better to work toward achieving joy than it is working towards achieving one's own misery. And I
Oh,
think
totally.
uh, making one person smile is worth like a lot. Is worth a significant amount, and I want there to be more people who value that in the world, and people do.
Yeah, that's as well. That's what I hope, but I'm not sure if that's the case. And I mean, joy is spreading, but so is like anger and rage and things like that. But yeah, I hope that you're right,
Thank
at
you.
least.
And the final question is: if you could give just one piece of advice, what would that be?
Well, one piece of advice is, I think I was touching upon it earlier, but like reach out to people that you respect and you want to work with or you want to take advice from, because chances are they will actually help you out or want to collaborate with you. Don't be afraid of, like, don't think that you have to figure it out yourself. And also, no, hang on. Don't have any heroes, don't have idols or whatever. Don't worship false idols. But don't. No, I'm very opposed to this whole like celebrity worship thing or like hero worship thing. I think everyone is just people, and you should try to take everyone down to the same level, in a way.
Hey folks, it's Tess from the Curiosity Project. Thank you for listening to another episode. And this is now a segment, I guess, because people have continued to support me on Patreon, which is, again, something that I'm eternally and endlessly grateful for. This is my art project, and every little piece of support, even messages and kind words, everything helps. So the three supporters of my Patreon are Samantha M. Murray, Brianna Jones, and Book Sherpa. To all three of you, you have my thanks. Next week is going to be something a little bit different. I've tried something new. I'm expanding my guest horizon a little bit. I hope you like it. And it will be next week, as opposed to the 3 or 4 weeks that sometimes happens between episodes, which I'm very sorry about. I swear. I swear, please forgive me. But yeah, see you next time.